My name is Danny Johns and I am a Bristol-based comedian. I'm fairly new to the circuit. I've been going about 3 years and a lot of that was during COVID. So I like to say I've been going 1.5 years because it makes it sound like I've achieved more. It's great, it's just fun. I love making people laugh and that's it. You just feel brilliant that you've orchestrated happiness for a bunch of people.
Hi, I'm Donna Landy. I'm a trans comedian. A perfectly happily married father of 2 until I tried on a pair of knickers and realised I was trans. Been, out for about nearly 5 years and transitioning for about 4. And I've been doing comedy for a couple of years now, most of it on Zoom. You know, most of my material is trans related or to do with growing up Jewish. Quite intense when you do comedy. I think you do end up, with a lot of introspection about yourself. And the one thing I noticed quite recently was that I've been seeking the kind of validation from audiences that I never got as a child from my parents, particularly my dad, who would always just pick fault with me. But I realised at the same time that no matter how much validation I get from an audience, it's never going to replace that validation I didn't get from my dad. And it was kind of a relief, like I could stop trying. I mean, it wasn't there. I needed it, I wanted it, I didn't get it, and I'm never going to get it. It's just, that's how it was. And it doesn't have to be a continuing whole. And I can let that go. I mean, it's great to entertain your audience. It's lovely when they laugh. It doesn't have to be like something that fills a need in me, if you see what I mean.
It's quite personal sometimes. The more you share on stage, the more we talk about things that are usually a bit hush-hush, the more we bring them to light, the more acceptable they are. And they're funny. Like, if you've got things in your personal life that have been difficult or traumatic and you're willing to share them and laugh about them, I actually think that's really therapeutic and really important to share with other people who might have experienced those same things. Very excited to be announced as one of the most influential women in Bristol in 2022. It was brilliant. I was really excited to be on the list, and one of the things they mentioned in the article, which I thought was really lovely, was that they mentioned my drive for diversity and equality on my bill. But also, I'm really interested in supporting other underrepresented groups in comedy because we all have different stories, we all have different jokes. I'm starting this new night at North Street Standard in Bedminster, but I believe it is the only fully wheelchair accessible comedy night in Bristol, which is nuts, like absolutely bonkers. But I'm pretty sure it's true. So I have a friend who is a wheelchair user, and the whole time I've been doing comedy for the last 3 years, he, being a good mate of mine, has wanted to come see me and go to gigs with me. And I've really struggled to be able to get him anywhere. I've actually only been able to take him to 2 gigs, and neither of them had an accessible toilet. But going to the toilet is a pretty basic human right. Quite essential, especially if you're having a few pints at a comedy night, do you know what I mean? So I think one of the things that's really amazing about comedy is the impact it can have on social change, which I know sounds a bit dramatic because you're like, it's jokes, it's banter, we're here to have a laugh, but in all seriousness, it does affect wider issues in that way, especially when it comes to diversity and equality.
I've heard people say, Donna, your material is just not what people really want to hear in a kind of standard comedy club. And at first I didn't really understand it, but I think I do now. But you do get some audiences that are just really hostile. I mean, there was one woman in Blandford Forum who heckled me from the front row, who just, when I said that I got a standing ovation in Brighton, she said, "What for?" in this really aggressive and hostile way. At the same time, I'm just being who I am. I'm not doing it because I want to, or because it's brave, or because, I do it because it's me and I have to. If I didn't, I would sink into depression, and I'm not willing to do that. And yeah, it does really take something, but at the same time, I don't know, I think doesn't everyone's life really take something to be yourself? It's really a struggle because there's so much pressure to conform, to be something, to follow the beaten path, to do what's expected of you, and to break out of that and be who you really are. That takes courage. And yeah, so everyone's got that challenge.